Well, let's bring you some news now, including this. Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan is attributing the latest power cuts to a shortage of skilled engineers and inadequate equipment.
Yeah, some people saying this is not exactly brand new news. Eskom has been implementing stage 2 blackouts at night this entire week and says not a single power station is fully operational.
We have an electricity problem in South Africa. We do. And I think from the President to ourselves in Cabinet, to the board and management of Eskom, it's very clear that the 16 or 17 power stations that we have, the three sort of pump stations as they call that we have, and the one nuclear station that we have, and the energy that we get from Kahara Basa, which is just over 11 or 1200 megawatts each day if the lines are working, that collective of megawatts availability is inadequate for the demand that we have right now. Secondly, it's also well understood amongst engineers who understand power stations, who understand boilers, who understand turbines, who understand mills, that lots of wrong things were done, operationally speaking, during a particular period in Eskom's history. That is what is now being fixed. And that takes time, it takes a lot of effort. But at the same time, I have every sympathy with South Africans who would say that we need to do all of this faster. Now, I'm not an engineer. I don't go and operate the power stations. All I can do, and do certainly on behalf of government and the people of South Africa, is to urge the Eskom management and the Eskom staff, please do your best to make sure that we sustain energy supply in South Africa.
Well, Gordhan has hit back at former SCOPA chairperson Themba Godi. He says state-owned entities were greatly impacted by state capture at a time when Godi was chairperson of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts. Godi had blamed Eskom's failures on Gordhan and Eskom CEO Andre de Ruyter.
With great respect to Mr. Godi, Mr. Godi is, of course, now a retired politician and has no responsibility for anything, whereas we do have a responsibility, and our responsibility is to fix these institutions that, as Chief Justice Zondo says in his many reports over thousands of pages, have been seriously impacted by state capture. And interestingly, that state capture took place at a time when Mr. Godi himself was chair of SCOPA. And it's fascinating to now ask the question, what was SCOPA doing at a time when auditors didn't detect procurement fraud and corruption, when auditors went to the same CEOs who today the Zondo Commission identifies as collaborators in a massive scheme, as Justice Zondo says, to ensure that SOEs are the targets for extraction of vast resources.